All right, so today we're going to dive into the concept of maybe one chat system to rule them all. We're going to talk a little bit about that, what kind of technologies are starting to make their way into Web3, but also kind of this merger from what we're seeing within the Web2 apps. And we wanted to do this with Unstoppable. And I think you guys are going to like the show. It's going to be a good one. My name is Paul Barron. Welcome back into Tech Path. Joining me today, of course, is Sandy Carter, who is coming in over from Unstoppable Domains. You, of course, know her and have seen her, COO and Channel Chief. Great to have you back.
Thank you, Paul. So great to see you again.
Yeah, listen, I was looking at some of the videos that we have done with you. 5 months ago was the last one, and this was on the Web3 identity side. So interesting stuff. We've had you on the channel a couple of times. Tell us what's been going on with Unstoppable over these past 5 months. Anything new?
Oh my gosh, we've had so many new things, so many new partnerships, and so many new features that have been coming out. I'll actually start with today. Today we announced messaging. We did 2 partnerships for messaging. One with XMTP on what we call person-to-person messaging, so that
Yeah.
I can message you, Paul, you can message me, as well as with Push technology. Push technology will be driving our business to user messaging, which really helps you to, as a partner, to message all of your users. So let's take Polygon, for instance. All the Polygon users of Unstoppable, Sandeep, the CEO, could message all of those through Push technology. So 2 amazing new partners that joined the fold just today. We also
Interesting.
announced something, yeah, we also announced something called UD Blue, which is pretty cool. So Unstoppable Blue is the ability to get some premium features and functions by subscribing to one of our services. So we've taken a page out of several other companies' books in order to do that. But the response was really great. So you get things like a website template creator, the ability to do bulk minting, for example. And so that was also very exciting because UD Blue was a real powerhouse of what we're looking at and what we're looking to see as well. And then a real shocker at ACC in Paris, we also were able to announce that we are now selling on our website .eth. And so that
Right.
was a big shocker because, we're number 1 in naming services. ENS is number 2. Now we have one-stop shop with Unstoppable Domains, and you can buy either of those from us, or more importantly, hopefully all of the above. We see a lot of people coming in and just saying, I want Sandy.x and Sandy.eth, and they'll just do a clean sweep.
Yeah,
So I
for
think that
sure.
that's really powerful
I like
as
the
well.
I like the centralization because that does, I think for a lot of people, they are used to that already in the traditional Web2 domain naming services that are available out there. So I think that's, it's a good move on you guys' part. So, and also I think it's just one of those things for the future of Web3, the easier we can make it, the better I think it is going to be for everyone. I
Yeah.
want to jump to
Can
a
I just
couple of,
add, can I
yeah,
add
go
one
ahead.
more on ease of use? I'm sorry, Paul. So the other thing that we announced that I'm real excited about is the very first Web3 application marketplace.
Mhm.
Today there are marketplaces out there like OpenSea or Rarible
Right.
or Magic Eden for NFTs, but we announced the first Web3 application marketplace. And we're really excited about that because in there you can see our 870 different integrations that are there. You can see that featured bar, which I don't know why it's not filling in, but when it fills in, those are all the featured Web3 apps using AI. So for example, like Etherscan or Phantom. And we're going to change the feature apps every month. And then a customer or a user or an owner can come in and they can search for tax application or metaverse or game or whatever they're interested in
Hmm.
and get access to that as well. We think that this is one of the most powerful things that we've announced in a long time because, I even said 5 months ago, utility is greater than hype. And we kept announcing and announcing all these partnerships. But how do you find out about all of them? How do you search for them? How do you know where you can use your unstoppable domain? Now you can get it all from the marketplace.
We did a video actually on the marketplace. Actually, it was in one of our videos where we broke that down. We saw some great opportunities there. So for those of you watching or listening in today, make sure and check back on some of our Unstoppable videos. We may have not had Sandy on it, but we talk about Unstoppable quite a bit. And Sandy, I want to jump over to a tweet here. This was from you guys' Twitter account, and a couple of features here that I think are unique. One, this of course is in reference to ETH naming services. So obviously for ETH, now you can do that there. Using ETH to log in with Unstoppable, that's interesting. And also building an Unstoppable profile with no gas fees, so that's cool. Encrypted email, explain this with the .eth domain. How will that work?
So we integrated with a partner called Skiff. And Skiff is amazing because what Skiff enables you to do is to send encrypted email. You've been able to do that for a long time with any of the Unstoppable domains, but now that access is also open to .eth domains as well. So that would enable encrypted domain. But some of the other things I love about .eth is, we heard that people wanted to buy more than one. So now you can buy multiple .eths off of our website. The other thing, in fact, Paul, it was really funny. I was talking to a reporter and I was telling him about how we're now selling .eth on our website. And he's like, man, I had my name all laid out and I forgot that it was subscription, that you had to renew it, and I lost it. And so now with Unstoppable, you can set an auto renewal date.
Right.
So you can say, hey, I want to renew this automatically for 5 years. Unstoppable will take care of that so that you never lose your name again. I think that's really powerful too.
Well, I mean, I think for anybody who is, if you think about just traditional naming services out there, they're kind of accustomed to that if they've got any kind of .com in the past. So some of that is definitely out there in Web2 land. Push alerts on the iPhone, though. So that's available. Any plan for Android? Because I'm rocking both iPhone and Android now these days. When are you going to have that available as well?
Yeah, I mean, we think it's going to be, we said coming soon in our blog post, but we think it's probably going to be as soon as next week, where you'll also be able to use and leverage this on your Android device as well. And, it really just has to do with the approval processes. Before you can publish anything to the App Store, the Apple Store, you have to get their approval. The same thing is true with Android. So it's just a matter of getting all the approvals done.
Yeah. Is there a difference between the ETH naming service when you go over to ens.org and what you guys are doing, or is it just very transparent? Is there, other than the ability to auto renew, things of that nature, what would be some of the key things that are differentiating between you and what ENS is doing?
So, I think the big ones are auto renewal, which is really powerful. The ability to buy more than one .eth. We've had that happen a lot. This was one of our, working backwards from the customer, being very customer obsessed. One of the things that we heard about a lot is having the ability to go in there and say, I want Sandy Carter, I want S Carter, and I want to buy all those at one time versus keep going back and back and back. So I think that that's a really big deal and a really big feature as well that we enable. And, just the ability as well, if you're a new user, one of the reasons we did this was to expand the market. We're looking for more Web2 users to come in, and we wanted to make it really easy for them. So today, using Unstoppable, you don't have to have a crypto wallet. We will store it for you in a vault. Now, you still own it, so it's still yours. You still own it, but it's now stored in a vault. And that means that at any time you can come and claim it and put it in your wallet. But while you're still learning, quote unquote, the space itself, you're also able to place that into the vault. And the vault is, I think, very powerful and is getting more and more powerful as we progress forward.
Explain it a little further, because I think some of the people that might be listening or watching right now, they may have not even used Unstoppable before. So let's say I go in, I get my name, .whatever, let's say .crypto or .x, and I want to put that in. I'm just using a regular credit card to be able to buy that. What that's doing is it's just parking it in a vault until I put a wallet to it. Is that how it works?
That's right. So you still own it. It's still yours, but it's in a vault. So it's still secure. It's being held for you. So nobody else can buy it. It's yours. but you don't have to go through and set up a wallet.
Okay.
Paul, I think you and I talked on one of the episodes about how hard it is to get crypto, from an exchange, put it in your wallet, figure out your wallet, protect have your private key there. And so this makes it so easy. Now for the first time, you can buy Sandy.eth with a credit card. You don't have to pay in crypto, and you can store it in a vault. So if you're brand new to the space, you just want to get started, or you want to take a bet on the future, this is a great way to do it, because all you need to do is have a credit card, place it in a vault, and then when you're ready to tackle the next, and hopefully when Web3 becomes easier and maybe that wallet won't be quite so hard, then you're able to really go ahead and just get started and get moving as well.
Okay, one last question on Vault, just for my own reasons. Is there a
Yep.
recurring fee for Vault storage that you've got to pay for? How does that work as a whole?
Yeah, so we do charge $4 a year. So it's a very low fee, but we charge $4 a year for the
Okay.
storage that it costs to just store it. Because again, as you're storing it in the vault, you're not storing it
It-
in your own wallet.
That's per domain versus per user, or is that one user,
Per
one
domain.
vault?
Yeah,
How's
per
per
domain.
domain?
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, per domain.
All right.
Mhm.
All right. So, I mean, for those of you, I would recommend getting a vault. But if not, go ahead and get a wallet and be able to, of course, integrate that way. Talking about wallets, obviously, Solana just recently put out their Solana name service. That, of course, is now starting to roll out. What about the potential integration with what Solana is doing?
We love Solana. Already, if you look at many of our applications that we support login with, they are Solana based applications. We are looking for a lot more naming services. We want Unstoppable to be the one stop shop for Web3 domains. So, Bonfida runs the .sol naming service. We would love to have them sell on our site, as well as many, many others. We're chatting with lots of other naming services right now to get the ability to sell those on our site. Most recently, we announced that we would also support .sats, which is part of the ordinal family for Bitcoin. So that's the newest one that we also
Right.
did as well.
Well, it's going to be good. I think the more we see integrations, kind of the all-in-one location. If you think about GoDaddy and what they've done with regular domain service within Web 2, maybe Unstoppable is kind of the future there. I want to jump over to a clip real quick, and this is in reference to an interview we did with the McFarlane team along with some other people, and it was talking about Allowlist, and this was some situations that are occurring with NFT drops and just projects in general. Let me play this clip for you and hear what you have to say. A Discord Allowlist, a little bit of kind of a clunky process that we're seeing play out in real time.
Oh my God, yes.
around this. So, what is why not use like a Web3 kind of solution here for something like that?
It is absolutely not the ideal, and it's not where we want to go going forwards. So hopefully it's a lot smoother.
So Trevor and I had a long conversation about this. We're from McFarlane, and again, we like what McFarlane is doing. As you could see, that would be a perfect example of a Web3 solution that could get into allowing someone like me who has an ID and be able to drop into something like that in terms of a project very easily. Some kind of that, one chat to end them all, or one ID for, every use case. Are you guys looking at any kind of integrations or any potential solutions for things like this?
Well, today, if you have Unstoppable, you can log into over 500 different applications with using your Unstoppable ID. We are looking at, we want to get up to, so we're at 870. We want to get up to 1,000 really quickly. So we're looking at any and all integrations that add value to our users. Paul, the way we work is really using the Amazon Web Services model, which is working backwards from our customers. So for example, the announcement we made today on messaging, that came directly from our users and our partners. They said, we want to be able to message each other. And so, I wrote a PR to make that happen. And then we worked backwards and we got that in the game. So this is something that would be an amazing integration to do as well. And we've got a whole list of people that companies that we're working with. So if you want to make a great introduction for me, please do that.
We know the Marlin team, so I'll introduce you to Trevor and Todd over
Yeah, I
there.
love that.
You mentioned 500 apps. Is there a place on the website where we can go take a look and just see what is available and what's coming? Where is that available right now?
Yeah, so on the Unstoppable Marketplace, all of our apps and wallets are there. So that's where
Okay.
870 different applications. So we have 520 apps or D apps, right? Decentralized
Yep.
applications.
Mm-hmm.
171 wallets are out there. We
Yeah.
also have games like Atari that are out there and metaverses. So if you ever want to know, do you support something? It's here. Or if you want to go out and search by category, you can also search by category. So, when tax season was in, people were asking us, are there apps that you guys integrate with so that we can
Yeah.
quickly do our tax systems for, the upcoming, what is it, 4/15
Yeah.
deadline? And then we just recently integrated as well with a company called BitCrunch. We're integrated with them because what they do is they actually assess the value of your entire NFT portfolio. So, if you have some of your NFTs in, maybe in Magic Eden, some in Rarible, some in OpenSea, maybe some don't exist there. It gives you a nice little analytical, using artificial intelligence, kind of an assessment of where that sits today. So it's pretty cool. So we continue, again, we listen to our customers. They say, wow, we need to do this, or we would like to do, like Etherscan or whatever it happens to be. And then we try to go and get that integration done with whatever great company that is.
So a lot of companies out there starting to look at Web3 solutions, whether it's integration on loyalty, NFT projects, all sorts of use cases that are starting to flow into the business side of, Web3. Are you guys looking at any major partnerships, corporate, kind of, whether it's you're doing a deal or they're just trying to start to utilize some of these services? What are you seeing in that landscape right now?
Oh my gosh, Paul, there's so many Web 2 companies right now that are very interested in trying Web 3. And it's not because Web 3 is hip or cool, but it's because of the value prop that Web 3 brings to the table. So you mentioned loyalty. Loyalty is a really big one because everything's on chain and you can identify users. It's just such a great use case. So we're seeing that one pop up for a lot of Web 2 companies. We haven't closed any yet, but we have many, many, many inquiries in that space. And I would say at ECC, which was our last big Web3 show in Paris, we had double the interest of Web2 companies at that show and us than we had in the previous year. I think right now, though, people are just a little nervous, right? A lot of people equate Web3 equals crypto. And people are nervous about crypto. And you and I know that Web3 doesn't equal crypto. Crypto is one of the use cases. It's why we make available credit card purchase and vault, so you don't have to go with crypto. But I think we're going to see, once I think the regulations settle down, which we are seeing, we just saw Coinbase, we just saw Ripple. We're seeing several of the court cases come down favorable. I think when that regulation gets solved, that we're going to really unleash the Web 2 companies because there's just so much interest, but there's just a fear of, is now the right time to move forward with it?
Yeah, one of our company entities is a consulting group, and I work in that capacity with a lot of different brands, and that is the same kind of landscape we're seeing. Everybody's starting to build a strategy right now. They just haven't deployed. There's a lot of projects that are underway right now for utilization of a lot of tool sets, whether it's loyalty or you look at NFT applications, as well as smart contract integrations into some brand identity, especially around IP. So I would agree with you. I think there's going to be some big steps going forward. Let's talk a little bit about Humanity Check Verified versus things like what we've seen with Worldcoin. Talk to me a little about what you guys are doing in that space, as we are looking at identification as being a potential here. And this is something that you and I have talked about before, and how this might change the future of just self-identity in Web3. Talk to me about what you guys are doing.
Yeah, so we actually did introduce, we were one of the first to introduce a humanity check. And one of the things that we found out was with our humanity check, a lot of Web3, it just didn't fit the Web3 ethos, right? People really didn't want to be identified. But now, as we're starting to see more and more Web2 come in, humanity check is starting to become something that's mandatory. So the slide you just had up was Raramo. We did a partnership yesterday with Raramo. And so the interesting thing there is we continue to do our own humanity check, but some apps are also looking for you to verify that you are a person and not a bot. And so
Right.
we partnered with Raramo on that, who is also working with Galaxy and Decentraland and some other applications that will use unstoppable domains as part of that humanity check. I do think, if you think about WorldCoin went, I think, way above, right, using biometrics. And most of the Web3 community I talk to is not ready for anything like that. I mean, if you think looking at a government issued ID and comparing it, that was kind of too harsh. Biometrics went way above, at least from what we heard about from our users as well.
Yeah, it's definitely one that appears to be crossing the line. But no, we're also talking about kind of this next evolution of demographics right now in the, whether it's in the U.S. or abroad. There's a lot of nations that have, we'll call it a younger demographic who is very crypto native, digital native, social native. They kind of get that, but I'm kind of on the fence here in reference to identification, just because we see the problem with bots in not only just here on the YouTube channel, but we see it in social media. We have our own Power Index, which is a tool that analyzes sentiment, and bots are one of the biggest problems that we deal with right now. So I think it is something that if Web3 could solve that, that would be pretty significant going forward. Speaking of bots, I want to jump over to your crypto-theme.x mystery boxes. And I was looking at this, and it just looks so close to what's happening over at Twitter. I think, all right, could there be some partnerships looming here with what you guys are doing and with what Elon Musk is doing over at Twitter?
Yeah, well, we've had .x now for I think almost 3 or 4 years. .x, I would say
Right.
.x, and
Yeah.
for us, .x is has always been the hippest and the coolest extension. So a lot of celebrities go with .x, and so I think it's always been a really cool extension for us. When Twitter rebranded, I did reach out to Twitter, and I'm looking forward to some upcoming meetings. We don't have anything planned, so there's no pre-announcements or anything, but I would like to just chat with them about some things that we could potentially do around the space. But X, X marks the spot. I think X makes everything cool. I think that X has always been super cool, and it's always been one of our number one, .x extensions as well. So you see more there. The mystery boxes are done with Magic Eden. We
Right.
have a box where we're gonna, package things together, and it's a mystery. You don't know which name you're gonna get. It's guaranteed to be at a certain level, but could go even above that value. So I think it's pretty exciting. We did this once before, and we completely sold out. So again, listening to our customers, they said, bring this back. We like the mystery. We like being surprised. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that's what this is.
Well, it's good gamification, I think, which is one of the
Yeah.
engaging elements of not only digital, but Web3. I think we'll see more and more of this. So for sure. All right, I was looking at your Twitter right here, OpenSea. We have some requests for the Unstoppable and ENS community that we'd like to see for Web3 domains on OpenSea. What do you think about this? That is a big integration, or would be. What's the likelihood of something like that?
Well, we've been talking with Devin, who's the CEO of OpenSea, for quite a while. And they have said that integration is on its way. So I do try to keep a very open dialogue with them. Obviously, it's up to them on timing. We keep preparing lists. And now that we also sell .eth, we have lists of requirements from us as well as .eth. And so we'd love to see OpenSea do that integration. Right now, OpenSea is dealing with a lot, especially around all the royalty issues. And
Right.
so I think they've got to get through that. And then I'm hopeful that we'll be next in line for that integration.
Interesting. All right. So we've been talking about that a little bit on our channel in reference to creators and the utilization of Web3 solutions. what this might mean for this next generation, I think, of really digital ID, web ID, or whatever you want to call it. There's going to be a centralized identifier. And the ability to kind of navigate no matter what app, like you mentioned, being able to communicate intra-app without actually having a home base. I want to play a clip for you. This is PussyRiot, and a little bit about what she has been doing out there. Let's play this clip.
Okay.
The all-female group called PussyRiot has been jailed for 2 years for an anti-Putin performance in a Russian Orthodox cathedral.
What was it like? What did you face inside prison?
I ended up in a labor camp. It's also psychological torture because with your labor, you support the system that you go against.
You said you've had this one job for many years. What's that one job?
My job is to hurt Vladimir Putin as much as humanly possible.
Can you do that with art and music and protest?
Yeah, of course, because bullets can penetrate your body, art can penetrate your mind.
Does that make you dangerous?
And some people say so.
Do you think you are?
No, I think I'm nice and cute and fluffy and like really just lovely person.
The point we're getting at here is obviously the way in which social will be utilized in the future, and the idea of digital ID. I was looking just here on Linster. This is an example of the use case that's starting to be used with, whether you think about creators or you just look at anybody that's essentially going to be utilizing tool sets like this in Web3, especially around digital ID, because this starts to create the digital ID ownership that is yours. Now you have the ability to kind of span out. What are your thoughts on, kind of the future of where digital ID is going?
Well, I think there's still so much potential for digital ID. If I look at things like social causes in particular, when we did our focus groups asking people, what do you want as part of your digital identity? Social causes was one of the very top, along with cars and sports, of course.
Right.
And so I do see a lot of potential to use your digital identity to represent causes. For example, we are getting ready to announce our top 100 most inspirational women of Web3, our top 100 young girls of Web3. And that's a social cause, right? I'm trying to get more diversity inside of Web3, and I'm using our digital identity to do that as a social cause. I think digital identities in the future will represent social causes, and not just ones that you talk about, Paul, but ones that you really do something about, right? Because with blockchain, you now have the ability to find out not just what people say, but what they actually do. But in the future, education will be part of digital identity. So you no longer have to guess if I have Harvard on my LinkedIn profile. Did I really go to Harvard, or am I just saying I went to Harvard? I think healthcare, I just met up with 100 healthcare startups up in New York. I think that healthcare could be a really ripe area for digital identity. Of course, we saw California now is working to get car titles as well on digital identity. So I think the future is really bright here. There's so much that's possible, but I think we need more adoption and more maturity as we go along, and more innovation. And that's I just saw you flash up women of Web3. Women of Web3 and AI is really important because everything says that if you have more diversity of thought in what you're doing, you're going to get bigger ideas. You're going to innovate stronger and more powerfully. So I truly believe that this is a big focus. And here you see Paris Hilton. She believes the same. She's working really hard for women in this space. And I love partnering with her and her team on a whole set of initiatives, again, to change the game for that social cause.
I was looking at, just to stay on that frame there, looking at Lens protocol, and of course Lens was one of the tool sets in which Riot was going out to earn a little bit of revenue on this by utilizing kind of this integration. But you can kind of see number 2 right now in terms of revenue. So that, along with just the amount of growth that we've seen, especially around Lenster Post, which of course, if you guys don't know what Lens protocol is, go back and watch one of our videos. We do a full breakdown on what Lens protocol is and really how it's kind of the new digital ID for social media, which will really start to make you think, especially as we start to see kind of this evolution of new media being spawned out there. And of course, obviously, when you think about just what's happening in the political landscape, many things kind of go in there. So it kind of does lean into what has been happening there. As
And
far
I
as the
would
Lens
just add
protocol,
yeah. Oh, go ahead. I was going to add something on Lens. Go ahead.
go ahead, add to that.
I was just going to say, in our messaging announcement today, you now have the ability to message anybody with Coinbase or Lens.
Lens,
We
yep.
are working with Lens to have that tighter knit because they really are the social element, and we really have the digital ID or the naming service element. So the power of both together is very powerful. We have reached out to Lenster as well. I think they're a great company that we would love to do more with as well. So again, this was something that people started telling us, look, I've got my Lens profile for social. Now I want to add to it my naming profile. How do we do that integration together? And I also, Paul, just wrote an article about Friend.Tech. I don't know what your thoughts are on Friend.Tech, but another way to do social media and really to tokenize your relationship and access to people, right?
What do you think about Friend.Tech? Just give me some insights to that article. I haven't read it.
I think it's really fascinating. I mean, I think the social element is a big element for the future. I named it as one of the top 3 use cases: loyalty, digital identity, and social. And I use Friend.Tech because, everybody right now is searching for a way to get an invite to Friend.Tech because it gives you access to so many really cool people. It enables you to kind of tokenize your friendships or your access or your network, if you would. Very fascinating. Very fascinating concept, to be sure.
All right, so Lens protocol growth, likelihood, that's right now, that's one of the biggest challenges. Lens hasn't opened up the protocol just yet to everyone, but when that does happen, kind of curious, when that happens, how will that affect what you guys are doing with integration? Because that could really explode into maybe tens, if not hundreds of millions of potentials out there, especially, obviously on the concept of XMTP. What are you guys seeing in terms of growth around that?
Yeah, I mean, we love working with Lens. We think Lens is really powerful. Again, I can't pre-announce anything, but you'll see more integration coming with Lens. First step was today in messaging, where you can now message anyone with a Lens protocol that's working with XMTP, right? So I think it could be great for both. Lens does not really have a naming protocol. We really don't have that social element. So I think the integration between us is a very powerful integration. And as I said, we've been chatting with them as well.
Yeah, I saw this with the Converse app on your Twitter account here, using with the Converse app. So that's kind of cool in all of that. Sandy, last question to you. When you look at just the things that you guys have been able to be privy to, whether you think about it on the business landscape, the technology advancement and innovation landscape, new programs, developers, projects, companies being spawned now in this new evolution of what will most likely be Web3. What's most promising to you right now? Businesses kind of migrating, or the tech coming first? What do you think is going to happen?
I mean, for me, the first thing is ease of use. I think everything needs to be easier to use. And we've been really focused on that, again, with things like the vault and making it just easier for anybody from Web 2 to come into the space. I think the second thing will be that utility, right, Paul? Because if you don't have utility, like you can have great tech, but you got to have those use cases.
Right.
So I love identity as a use case. I love loyalty as a use case. I love social as a use case. Those are things that you use and do every single day. And so I think what we need is to focus on the business outcomes we think that Web3 can deliver even more strongly. And I think if we do that, then we can really, change the game as well. And Paul, one of the things that I was asked to do in terms of ease of use, Wiley contacted me and asked me to write a business fable. And this is interesting, a business fable about Web3 AI and the metaverse. So my book is coming out at the end of this month. It's called The Tiger and the Rabbit, and it focuses on Web3 AI and the metaverse. And part of the reason they wanted me to do that is they saw so much interest in learning about these areas, but it was so complex. And so they asked me to write this book as a fable. So I actually have dialogue in it, which I had to learn how to write dialogue. It's a story. And I think it's really interesting that a book publisher recognized the need for a discussion of use cases, a discussion of ease of use, and making it more fun and accessible to everyone.
Well, listen,
I
I'm
think
going to
that's
read
really
that.
fascinating.
I'm going to read
Okay,
it
thank
because
you.
that's something that we try to do here on the show quite a bit is to talk about use cases and really kind of explore what the potentials are. We get a chance to talk to a lot of CEOs and companies that are in that development lane right now, and that's the biggest question is, this is really kind of creating a new zone of innovation that really I haven't seen since the early 2000s when we saw really the birth of the internet, when companies were trying to figure out how to use it. So definitely always fun to chat with you, Sandy. Thank you so much for stopping in today. We appreciate it.
And thank you, Paul. And I have to do also a big thank you to you for having me on the show. You always ask such great questions. And whoever is putting up those screens, they are amazing. So thank you to you guys
We
too.
have a great team back there,
They
always on
they
top
are
of it.
awesome. So
They're listening to
congratulations.
what you're saying and they're going,
Yeah.
oh, I think I can find that. Let's pull it up.
Yeah, super cool. So thank you. It makes it much more exciting to watch because now you're actually seeing it versus I'm a visual learner. So it's so
Yeah.
powerful. So thank you for producing these shows that are, I think, really powerful and really simplify the concepts as well.
We appreciate it. Excellent. Thanks again, Sandy. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
All right. All right, you guys, if you're tuned in maybe on the podcast side of things, you just missed one of those visual wonderlands that you can check out over here on YouTube. It's where we kind of break down a lot of these additional things that help explain these more complex processes in Web3. So hopefully you'll jump over to YouTube, subscribe, make sure and hit that little bell so you get notifications of our live streams. And another place you can get more information from us is through our Diamond Circle. That's our private member group, and it's very easy to join. Just click the link down below here on the YouTube channel. It's actually also on your podcast app as well. You can click that link. It'll take you over to our Substack and or our website, which is just pbn3.com. You can join there. It's very simple and easy. If you guys want to reach me, it's out there on X or Twitter @Paul Barron. We'll catch you next time right here on TechPath.